Hey guys, this is Samir for ThinkDigit, and today we have with us the Xolo Q1000S. The smartphone has the updated MediaTek MT6589T chipset. It has a 5-inch display with a 720 pixel resolution and has a pretty good form factor. Is it worth your hard-earned cash? We'll take a look today. So starting with the design and build of the smartphone, it's relatively slim and feels rather well built in your hands. It has a unibody metal design which has a really good finish to it. The black is matte. Even though it's a slight fingerprint magnet, it's not going to get dirty that easily. The rear, of course, is not removable, which means you don't have access to the battery. You have the 13 megapixel camera along with the flash at the back. In terms of its other connectivity options, or rather the ports, you have the SIM card slot on the right. Now it is a popping out SIM card slot just like you have on other smartphones such as the Nexus 4 or the Huawei Ascend P6. There is no expandable storage option, which means you are stuck with the 16 GB that you get. The left has the volume rocker and the power button. Now, in terms of its build, it is very well built, the smartphone, but there are a few problems that we have with it. For example, it is really difficult to pop the SIM tray out. It's not as easy as just, plucking the SIM card remover in and getting the tray out. You really have to jiggle it quite a bit. Even the power button seems to have a problem. We've managed to displace it, which means we're going to use our nail a lot more to access the power button than our finger, which is more intuitive to use. The power button is also on the left of the smartphone. We've usually grown accustomed to using it on the right, but here it's on the left, and that is slightly inconvenient. But that would have been alright if it was a little well built and it wouldn't get submerged inside the panel like it is out here. This makes using the smartphone really very inconvenient. This happened literally on the first day when we started reviewing the smartphone, which goes to show that the quality of plastics used out here wasn't really the best. Moving on to the user interface of the Q1000S, it is stock Android. You have no skin overlaying the device, which is good, and its interface is really quite smooth. Now, because it has a 720p display and the 1.5 GHz quad-core turbo MediaTek chipset, the interface is a lot smoother than what we've seen on, let's say, the Wicked Leak Whammy Passion Z Plus or the Lemon A4, because those smartphones house a 1080p display which requires a lot more rendering on screen. The 720p display requires less rendering. This phone has 1.5 GHz quad-core, 1 GB RAM, making it a real smooth device. Coming to its performance, as all other MediaTek smartphones, Real Racing 3 did not run on the device, but all its other factors are quite good. The display has good viewing angles, even though its vibrancy is a little less than, let's say, a Lemon A4, but it gets the job done well nonetheless for reading content, be it on the browser, messaging, or playing games. Even in its benchmark performance, the device has performed a lot better than its competing smartphones. The camera on the Xolo Q1000S is 13 megapixels, and we were skeptical of its performance, but in well-lit conditions, especially outdoors, the camera performed quite well. In low-lit situations, there was a lot of loss of detail, especially when you blow the image up to its full size, but the overall output was acceptable nonetheless. If you are one who's going to put it up on social networking websites, the images do quite well. To conclude, we'd like to say that the Xolo Q1000S is a very well-built smartphone. It has its flaws with the SIM card tray and the power button, which feel quite flimsy. In terms of its performance, its benchmark scores and real-world performance is quite good. The only downside is that you do not have access to the battery and no expandable memory. If you are one who wants access to the battery and expandable storage or even dual SIM capabilities on your smartphone, you can take a look at competing devices such as the Canvas 4, Wicked Leak Whammy Passion Z Plus, and more. If you have, however, used a Xolo product in the past, you may consider this device. Just remember, limited storage, no expansion option, SIM tray and power button are a little flimsy. Apart from that, the smartphone is a good performer.